Hi everybody and welcome back to the Wolf Den Library. My name is Miss Evelyn and today we are going to continue reading The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This is the Junior Classics version that was adapted by Margaret DeKeyser, illustrated by Phil Devine, and published by Bendon, Inc. I hope you enjoy it. Chapter 4. The Key to the Garden. "Look at the moor! Look at the moor!" Mary called to Martha the next morning. The rain had ended. A deep blue sky arched over the moor. Mary had never dreamed of a sky so blue. In India, skies were hot and blazing. The moor itself looked softly blue instead of gloomy purple-black. "Aye," Martha grinned. "The storm's over. Spring is on its way. Just wait and see. It will be bloomin' all over, buzzin' with butterflies and bees. Thou will want to stay out all day like Dickon does." "I like Dickon," said Mary, "and I've never seen him." "Well," said Martha, "the very birds like him, and the rabbits, and the wild sheep, and ponies, too. I wonder what Dickon would think of thee." "He wouldn't like me," said Mary in her stiff little way. "No one does." "How does thou like thyself?" Martha asked. Mary thought for a moment. Not at all," she answered. "Mother said that to me once," Martha said. "I was in a bad temper. She said, 'Thou stands there saying thou doesn't like this one and thou doesn't like that one. How does thou like thyself?' It brought me to my senses in a minute." Mary thought she would like Martha's mother. She sounded like a very wise person, and nice, too. Martha left for her day off. She was going home to the cottage on the moor. She would help her mother with the washing and the baking, and then play with her little brothers and sisters. Mary went out into the gardens. The sunshine made the whole place look different. She went into the first garden and found Ben Weatherstaff working there. "Springtime's comin'," he said. "Can thou smell it?" "I smell something nice and fresh and damp," she said. "That's the good rich earth," he answered. "It's making ready to grow things. In the flower gardens thou will see bits of green spikes sticking out of the earth." "What are they?" asked Mary. "Crocuses and snowdrops and irises and daffodowndillies," Weatherstaff said. "Has thou never seen them?" "No, they don't have those flowers in India," said Mary. She heard the soft rustling of wings. The robin had come again. He hopped about and looked at her. "Do you think he remembers me?" she asked. "Of course," said Weatherstaff. "He knows everything that goes on in the gardens." "Are things growing in that garden where he lives?" Mary inquired. "What garden?" grunted Weatherstaff. "The one that's locked up," she continued. "Are all the flowers dead? Are there ever any roses?" "Ask him," said Weatherstaff, nodding towards the robin. "He's the only one that knows. No one else has seen inside it for 10 years. Mary walked through the gardens into the long, ivy-covered wall. She heard a chirp and a twitter. She looked down at the bare flower bed. The robin had followed her. He was pecking things out of the earth. "You do remember me!" she cried out. She chirped and talked. He hopped and twittered. She bent down close to him and tried to make something like robin sounds. She was so happy that he let her get close to him. The robin stopped to peck at a worm. As Mary watched, she saw something almost buried in the soil. It looked like a rusty old iron ring. She put out her hand and picked it up. It was an old key, and it must have been buried a long time. "Perhaps it has been buried for 10 years, she said in a whisper. "Perhaps it is the key to the garden." She put the key in her pocket and looked at the wall. Could she find the door? All she could see was thick ivy. Mary took the key with her so she would be ready if she ever found the hidden door. Martha was back the next morning, full of stories about her day off. She had helped her mother with the baking and the washing. In the evening, Martha had told her family about the little girl from India. "They wanted to know all about thee," said Martha. "I couldn't tell them enough." "I'll tell you more before your next day out," Mary promised. "They might like to hear about riding on elephants and camels, and hunting tigers. Did Dickon and your mother like to hear you talk about me?" "Why, yes," answered Martha. "Mother was worried about thee. She said it must be hard to be all alone with no nurse or governess to look after thee. She said, 'Martha, do thy best to cheer her up. Here, I brought thee a present.'" "A present?" exclaimed Martha. How could a cottage full of 14 hungry people give anyone a present? It was a skipping rope with striped red and blue handles. "Mother bought it from a peddler," Martha explained. "She doesn't have any money to spare, but she wanted thee to have something to play with. She used some money from my wages." What's it for?" Mary asked. "For?" cried out Martha. "Does that mean that they don't have skipping ropes in India? Just watch me." Martha began to skip and skip and skipped. She counted to 100 as she skipped. "It looks nice," Mary said. "Your mother is very kind. Do you think I could skip like that?" "Try it," urged Martha, handing Mary the skipping rope. "Mother said it would do thee good. Put on a coat and go skip outside." Mary took the skipping rope. She opened the door, but turned back slowly. "Martha," she said stiffly, "they were your wages." "Thank you." Martha laughed. "Run off outside and play." The skipping rope was a wonderful thing. Mary counted and skipped and skipped and counted. The sun was shining. The wind came in delightful little gusts. She skipped all around the gardens. Ben Weatherstaff was talking to his robin. He was surprised to see Mary skipping. "Well," he exclaimed, "that does look like a child now instead of a grumpy old lady. I wouldn't have believed thee could do it." "I never skipped before," Mary said. "I can only go up to 20. Keep doing it. Just see how he's watching thee," Weatherstaff said, nodding towards the robin. Mary skipped away. She went to the ivy wall to try to skip the whole length of it. When she stopped to rest, the robin greeted her with a chirp. He had followed her again. As she skipped toward him, Mary felt the key she kept in her pocket. "You showed me where the key was yesterday," she said. "Will you show me the door today?" The robin flew to the top of the wall. What happened next seemed like magic. A strong gust of wind lifted the trailing sprays of ivy, and Mary saw something. It was a door handle. She pulled the leaves aside. Her heart began to thump. It was the lock of the door that had been closed for 10 years. She tried the key in the keyhole. It turned. She took a long breath, then slowly pushed open the door. She slipped through and shut it behind her. She stood with her back against it, looking about her. She breathed quite fast, with excitement and wonder and delight. She was standing inside the secret garden. And that's where we will stop for today. We'll have another chapter next week. Hope to see you then. Bye-bye.